did Jewish things. I love being Jewish. USY, BBYO, trips to Israel, all like the standard Jewish fare. And I liked it, and I did it, and then I was in my early 20s. I went to college. After college, I didn't really have career aspirations. I really liked helping people, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. My degree was in Jewish studies, children's literature, environmental studies. Right? What do you do when you don't know what you want to do? I designed my own major around what I had interest in: Judaism, children, and the world around me. And that's what I did. It qualified me to do nothing. So I graduated with a degree to do nothing. And then what do you do when you don't know what you want to do? Go to Israel and, travel and tour and learn for a year. So that's what I did. I went to Israel and I toured and I loved it. Israel, you sort of just fall in love. Mm-hmm. And I left Israel and I came home and I was 23 and I was sort of searching for the meaning of life. Like, okay, eat, you sleep, you work, you repeat, what else is there? And my mother said, when you find somebody and you get married and you have a family, you'll see there's more meaning in life. And I said, but I already have a family. You're my family. I see there's meaning. That's great. But, is this it? This is like the end of the road? And there wasn't really an answer for me. And when I was 24, there was a family member that was ill that I was helping to take care of, and so I was just emotionally at a very tender place. And after a long period of time, I needed a getaway, and I looked for a retreat, something to go to. And I almost ended up at the Himalayan Institute, which, I don't know much about it. I just imagine people walking around in white robes, sort of very slowly meditating all day. I needed something, but thank God I ended up finding a Jewish spiritual retreat, which was run by an organization called Israelite, and Rabbi David Aaron is the leader of that. And I went to this retreat, and I came back from the retreat, and I was like, I got it. Okay, this is it. Judaism and Shabbat and all of this. This, to me, this is the meaning of life. This is where the vibrancy and life is going to be for me. And I made some shifts. So I grew up conservative. I grew up, like I said, all the normal Jewish-y stuff. And I shifted to Orthodox, right? Don't tell my mother. So it was a big transition for my family, but for me, it was what I was looking for. I'm telling you my personal story just so you really get to know me. So after that shift, I was looking and dating, and I wasn't necessarily dating for marriage. We just spoke for a minute about dating Mr. Right now, who's not Mr. Right when you really know it's not what you're looking for, but you're looking for something and you can't find it, so you just grab onto something so you have something, because you need something for the minute. So after breaking up with Mr. Right now, that was when I went on the retreat, and I came back. I found somebody at the retreat that I started to date. That wasn't really the right thing. And my husband, who was also at the retreat, was dating somebody else, and then he broke up with who he was dating, and I broke up with who I was dating, and we were in and around the same community, and we started to date. It was a very short process. So I'll tell you, you can have my mother's reaction. We dated for about 3 weeks. We got engaged, and 4 months later we got married. Wow. So I call it thoughtfully impulsive. You might think that this is really crazy and impulsive, but if you really know who you are and you really know what you want, you can make very good, clear decisions in a short amount of time. So the only way to prove that all of that is okay is through the test of time. I've been married for 10 years. This is not my first. It's going to be, God willing, my 5th.
And is he Orthodox as well?
He is. And he didn't grow up that way either. And these are my kids. So you can have a lot of nachas. My oldest is 9, my daughter's 7. This one's almost 4, this one's 2, and new in July.
And you have time to do this.
And right? So the title of this whole symposium is Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. And really we are just all ordinary. We have our families, and we have our communities, and we're all just doing what we do day by day, and to be able to even think outside the box and say, and I want to do something else. I want to do something more for the Jewish people, and I want to do something that I'm passionately connected to. I'd like to be a wife and a mother. I'd like to work from home. I'd like to earn a good living. I'd like to really have a meaningful life in helping people in a very meaningful way. It's a little bit outrageous. And I would call it extraordinary, and I really like the title of this because on one hand I feel so ordinary, and on the other hand, you know, I did in the last year put together this book that's coming out, and I wrote a book while, right, dealing with everything else. So I thank you for a little bit of a pat on the back. It feels good. And it does take a lot of effort. So that's